Hi, I'm Sonika and today I'm going to show you how to make the best ever version of an omelette. So we're going to make a masala omelette and stuff it with mushrooms, onions and cheese. Let's quickly start making this. So I'm going to start off with a pan, and once the pan goes slightly hot, I'm going to add in some oil. So we're just going to wait for the oil to get a little hot, and once it's slightly heated, I'm going to add in some chopped garlic, some finely chopped green chillies. So just lightly saute this for a bit. If you want, you could add onions to this as well, but I'm going to skip that because I'm going to add onions in the stuffing later. So I'm going to go in and add some tomatoes now. And now I'm going to turn up the heat and we're going to let the tomatoes sweat. So once the tomatoes start sweating slightly, I'm going to start adding some powdered spices. Let's begin with salt for seasoning. Add in some red chilli powder, some coriander powder. These are all the fabulous Indian masalas that are going into the omelette. Some cumin powder, a little bit of turmeric, and finally a small pinch of sugar just to balance out all the sourness from the tomatoes. And I'm going to give this a quick mix. And now you just want to saute this slightly till the raw flavor from the masalas are gone. Okay, so now the masala is nicely sauteed and it started releasing some oil from the sides. I'm going to put the gas off, add in some fresh coriander and give it a good mix. And now we got to wait for this masala to cool down slightly because we're going to be mixing it with raw eggs, and if it's hot then the eggs are going to scramble. So just let this cool a little bit, and while that's happening we're going to move on to the eggs. So now I'm going to crack 4 eggs in a bowl. So now that I've got the eggs in the bowl, it's time to get into some whisking mode. So I'm just going to take a fork, puncture the yolk slightly because that makes it much easier to whisk. Next, I'm just going to add in some milk so this omelette is nice and fluffy. Not too much, because if you add too much milk, your omelette is going to disintegrate and it's not going to be a nice, beautiful disc that it should be. I'm just going to add some salt for seasoning. And now it's time to whisk this up really well. And now for the masala part. Remember the gorgeous masala that we prepared? It's time to add it to the eggs. You need to make sure it's properly cool. And I'm going to give it a good mix again. And now you're going to see the color of this egg mixture change. So now with the omelette mixture done, let's move on to the stuffing. I'm just going to put this aside and go back to our pan. Just put it on heat again and add some butter to it. Now I'm going to add in some chopped garlic, very little, so your filling inside also has got some flavor. Next, it's time to add in some onions. So you get a beautiful texture in the center of your omelette as well. And now I'm going to add one of my favorite ingredients, and that is button mushrooms. So I've got them sliced up over here. I'm going to just turn up the heat and we're going to saute this for about a minute till the onions and mushrooms sweat and they release a lot of their moisture. And to help it do that, I'm going to add in a pinch of salt. And in a couple of minutes, this should be done. So today I'm making the omelette with a stuffing inside, and the stuffing is what makes it delicious and gorgeous and takes it a notch higher. But you could very easily make this omelette just like this with the masala whisked into the eggs, and I assure you it tastes really good that way too. So now the onions and the mushrooms have got a nice golden brown color. I'm going to take it off the heat and transfer it into a bowl. And now it's time to get cheesy. So I've got 2 kinds of cheese with me, mozzarella and cheddar, and I'm going to add both into this. In goes the mozzarella. And now for some cheddar. Now I'm just going to give this a nice mix. So now I'm going to add some more flavor to this stuffing. Just a little bit of green chilli, just for some spice, and make sure you chop it really fine. And finally some coriander, because you want the stuffing to have that nice burst of freshness as well. And I'm going to give this a good mix. And all we got to do now is start putting this lovely omelette together. So for that, I'm going to put the stuffing aside and we're going to heat up a pan. And I'm going to be using a mixture of butter and oil. So once the butter is melted, you want to go in and pour in the egg mixture. I'm just going to give it a good whisk to make sure that you've got these air bubbles which contribute in making it nice and fluffy. And I'm just going to pour it straight into the pan. I'm just going to keep sliding it around till the egg more or less sets in the pan. Next, I'm just going to cover this for a bit so it helps set faster. So this is going to take even less than a minute. You don't want the omelette to be set completely before you add in the stuffing. So I'm just going to take the lid off and just give it a check once. Okay, this looks good. And I'm going to go in with the stuffing that we prepared. Since I'm going to be folding this omelette, I'm going to be putting the stuffing only on one side. So now I'm going to put the lid back on this just to make sure that the omelette is nicely set and the cheese gets nice and gooey. So I'm just going to check on the omelette because it seems like it's done. It definitely smells like it's done. Yup, like you can see the cheese has got nice and melted. I'm going to fold it now. So that's going to be a careful process. I'm going to use another spoon for it. And you can see how gorgeous that cheese looks. And this is definitely an omelette for the entire family. I'm going to quickly serve it up. I'm just going to slide this out on a chopping board and cut it up into wedges. So now I'm just going to plate up this omelette quickly because you want to eat it while it's still piping hot. So I'm going to add some crunch to this breakfast, lunch, dinner, call it whatever, with some toasted bread. Apply some butter on the bread. So my cheese stuffed masala omelette is ready and I can't wait to dig into it. The gorgeous cheese and the mushrooms and the onions and that masala. I'm just going to go right in. This is good stuff.